subscribe to my channel.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to share a dramatic and emotional story from Norse mythology that reveals how jealousy and betrayal can lead to tragedy. When you think of Norse myths, you might imagine Thor, the god of thunder, Odin, the All-Father, or even the apocalyptic Ragnarok. But Norse mythology isn't just about epic battles. It's also a tapestry of fascinating stories filled with clever tricks, heartfelt love, unyielding loyalty, and devastating betrayals that mirror the complexities of life itself. It's a world filled with wisdom, trickery, love, and betrayal. Even the gods have emotions. They make mistakes, feel regret, and sometimes fall. Today's story focuses on Loki. Yes, the same Loki you've seen in Marvel movies, the mischievous and cunning god. But in real Norse mythology, Loki is far more complex. He's not just a villain or a prankster. He's a mirror that reflects the darkest sides of the gods. And this tale is about Loki's darkest moment. A story that not only sealed his fate, but also set the stage for the downfall of the gods. First, let's meet Balder. He's the son of Odin, the All-Father, and Frigg, the queen of the gods. Unlike Thor, who is fiery and wields a mighty hammer, Balder is gentle and kind. Everywhere he goes, he brings warmth and light. His golden hair shines like the sun, and his smile could melt even the coldest winter. In Asgard, the home of the gods, everyone adored this perfect prince. But in Norse mythology, perfection often invites tragedy. One night, Balder's mother, Frigg, had a terrible dream. She saw her beloved son dead, lying in a pool of blood. In Norse myths, a dream from the queen of the gods is never wrong. It's always a prophecy. Terrified, Frigg decided to protect her son. She traveled across the 9 realms, begging every living thing to promise not to harm Balder. From fierce dragons to soft flowers, from hard stones to gentle lambs, everything swore not to hurt him. Now, Balder seemed invincible, but sometimes, the greatest dangers come from the most unexpected places. After Frigg's efforts, the gods felt relieved. They even turned Balder's invincibility into a game. If nothing could harm him, why not test it? On a bright day, the gods gathered in Asgard's courtyard. They threw Thor's hammer at Balder, but it veered away. They struck him with swords, but the blades couldn't touch him. Even Odin's spear failed to harm him. Balder stood in the center, his golden hair glowing in the sunlight as his warm laughter rang out, filling the courtyard. The gods marveled at this miracle, their awe reflecting in their faces, while Balder's radiant demeanor made the scene feel almost otherworldly. But among the crowd, one smile was different. It belonged to Loki. Loki, the trickster god and Odin's adopted son, had always been jealous of Balder's perfection. While everyone loved Balder, Loki felt overshadowed. Watching Balder laugh and bask in the god's admiration, Loki's jealousy turned into a burning rage. Loki began to plot, his mind swirling with jealousy and spite. He thought bitterly about how Balder's perfection overshadowed him, and a cruel idea took root. Had Frigg overlooked anything, he wondered, a sly smile creeping onto his face as he scanned the gathering for any weakness in Balder's defenses. Were there any creatures or objects that hadn't promised to spare Balder? Then he noticed a sprig of mistletoe growing nearby. It seemed so small and harmless. Surely Frigg hadn't thought to ask it. Disguised as an old woman, Loki visited Frigg and asked, "You're such a loving mother. You must have made everything swear to protect your son." Pleased with her efforts, Frigg replied, "Yes, everything, except mistletoe. It's too weak to hurt anyone." Hearing this, Loki's mind raced. He plucked the mistletoe and crafted it into a sharp spear, a weapon so small, yet deadly. Loki returned to the gathering, holding his mistletoe spear. He approached Hoder, Balder's blind brother, who sat quietly in the corner. "Dear Hoder," Loki said kindly, "why don't you join the fun? You're Odin's son too. You deserve to play." "I can't," Hoder sighed. "I'm blind. How can I aim?" "Don't worry," Loki said. "I'll guide you." Balder is your brother. He'd love for you to join." Hoder, touched by Loki's words, agreed. He wanted to be part of the gods' joy and thought this was just harmless fun. Loki handed Hoder the mistletoe spear, carefully positioning him. "Here," he whispered. "Throw it this way, I'll guide you." Hoder threw the spear with all his strength. The laughter stopped. The mistletoe spear flew straight into Balder's heart. The golden god staggered, looking at the weapon in disbelief. Light faded from his body, and he collapsed to the ground. Hoder, hearing the gasps, asked nervously, "What's happening? Is Balder all right?" But Loki had already slipped away, a wicked smile on his face. He had succeeded, using the weakest weapon and the hand of a brother to kill the perfect god. Balder's death plunged Asgard into sorrow. Frigg wept over her son's body, her nightmare fulfilled. Odin, stricken with grief, watched as the brightest light of Asgard was snuffed out. When Hoder learned the truth, he was devastated. The brother who had always been kind to him, who treated him equally despite his blindness, was gone. Because of him. The guilt haunted Hoder forever, but the gods couldn't dwell in grief. Frigg sent Hermod, the swiftest messenger to the underworld. Riding Odin's 8-legged horse, Hermod journeyed for 9 days and nights until he reached Hel, the realm of the dead. There, he saw Balder sitting beside Hel, the goddess of death, his light completely gone. Hel listened to Hermod's plea and gave a condition. If everything in the 9 realms weeps for Balder, he may return. But if one thing refuses, he will stay here forever. Frigg once again traveled across the 9 realms, begging everything to cry for her son. Trees wept sap, rocks shed water, and even fierce beasts shed tears. But Loki, disguised as an old giantess, refused. "Why should I cry for Balder? His death doesn't matter to me." Because of this one refusal, Balder remained in Hel's realm. The light of Asgard was lost forever, and this tragedy marked the beginning of Ragnarok, the prophesied end of the gods. Balder's death shattered the fragile peace among the gods, setting off a chain of events that would eventually lead to their ultimate destruction. The gods discovered Loki's role in the plot. As punishment, they chained him to a rock deep underground, where a venomous snake dripped poison onto his face for eternity. This story reminds us that the greatest dangers often come not from enemies, but from the jealousy and malice of those we trust.